Welcome to a brand new series here on the channel. Speculation has always been a really fun aspect of Smash Ultimate when it comes to predicting the next fighters. As we're getting 6 more characters, that's a lot more speculation, and I don't have a real idea of who's getting in, so we're going to guess at something else. Each DLC character pack comes with a stage, music, and spirits are overlooked. In this fun speculative series, we'll come up with concept for spirit battles for major characters associated with potential DLC candidates. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Halo and potential battles that could come along with Master Chief if he were to be added into the game. Let me know what characters you'd like to see on this series in the comments below. Drop a like if you're down for some Halo, and let's get into it. The characters I've chosen to represent as spirits from Halo are Sgt Johnson, Cortana, the Arbour, 343 Guilty Spark, Tartarus, Noble 6, Blue Team, Grunt, and Flood. Most of these spirit choices are obvious as they are iconic main characters from the franchise and are primary protagonists and villains. I chose Grunt and Flood because while being common enemies, Grunts are immensely recognizable and Flood play an important role in the plot of Halo. Now that the spirits are chosen, I'll create a concept for what a battle could look like for each one. We'll start with 343 Guilty Spark, the Monitor of Installation 04. This friend-turned-foe could be represented by a metal Kirby, as Kirby is spherical, and with his 6 jumps, he can emulate Guilty Spark's floating ability. In the settings for the battle, the Kirby could be made to have an avoidant personality so it stays in the air, stalling and fleeing from you so you can't attack it, and this is where its supports come in. In Halo, until the climax of Halo 3, Guilty Spark often just gets his sentinels to attack you instead of fighting you directly, and this is where 3 Robs would come in. You'd have to deal with multiple lasers, gyros, and robot attacks, while you jump up to try and hit this metal Kirby that's stalling in the air. If this battle were also in stamina mode, and if the Kirby had a significant amount of health, it would make it even harder. And as 343 is a villain, this spirit battle could potentially be a Legend class spirit. Up next is Sgt Johnson. The supporting character in Halo is hilarious and really well written. He's a military type and uses a variety of weapons throughout the games, and I think he'd be perfectly represented as a spirit by Snake. Snake uses grenades, rocket launchers, and his fists, which Johnson does from time to time as well. And their outfits are pretty similar enough as they're both military types. I don't feel like Johnson needs a particularly wild gimmick or item to be a fight representative of himself, and for that reason, this spirit will probably be at an advanced class spirit level, which is one of the lower ones. We're going to jump out of order and talk about a spirit battle for the Halo Grunt. These common enemies are everywhere, and they're a joke when they're fought one-on-one, and they're recognizable because when you headshot them, you get confetti and a yay! The spirit would definitely be a novice class. It had to be super easy. And pretty much a joke spirit battle. But imagine a spirit battle against a Pichu who has 3% health, and they're holding the little green gun item, and you have 100% health to work with. All you have to do is rush in, hit it once, or just throw one projectile at it, and you'll be dead. And that sounds like a really entertaining spirit battle, and pretty much reflective of what the Grunts are. When it comes to Cortana, she's not so much of a fighter, so coming up with a battle is a little bit tricky, but when choosing a character to represent her, I feel like it's obvious to pick Zero Suit Samus, as they're both women and blue with really form-fitting appearances. As Cortana works with Chief, I feel like it's only appropriate that he's in this fight as well, as he is a fighter after all, if this situation is true. A lot of the times in spirit battles, you have to beat an opponent before the real spirit appears, and this could work like that, where you have to fight Chief, and then Cortana appears after that, and then you would have to beat her to win the overall spirit battle. Maybe she could make the stage flip upside down, or she could reverse your controls once she comes in. That sounds appropriate as she has AI abilities, and it sounds like it would be like an ace spirit battle. Blue Team is the only spirit on this list that I couldn't find a PNG for, and in Smash, all the spirits are PNGs. But if Microsoft and Sakurai went with an idea like this, they'd pull a Blue Team PNG out of somewhere that I couldn't find. Blue Team is Master Chief's Spartan unit, and it consists of himself, Kelly, Fred, and Linda. And as they're all Spartans, this fight would pretty much just be 4 Master Chiefs that you fight all at once. In a similar way to some of the other DLC spirit battles like the Phantom Thieves where you fight Joker and all his friends. So this would just be a tricky little horde of enemies, and part of the fight would come down to what sort of moveset Chief actually has if he were to get in as a fighter. But if his moveset doesn't supplement the sniper rifle and shotgun playstyles of the other members of Blue Team, that some of these blue team members could carry items to reflect their sniper rifle or shotgun playstyle. And as you're fighting a group of enemies, this would probably be an ace spirit level. Noble 6 is the protagonist of Halo Reach and has the connection to Chief, as he is the one who brought Cortana to the Pillar of Autumn right before Halo Combat evolved, making him worthy of being a spirit in Chief's potential fighter's name. While Noble 6 could just be represented by a Master Chief battle, I think that'd be kind of boring, and to mix it up and make it more interesting, we could simply represent Noble 6 through either like a Samus or potentially even me Gunner, as Samus's armor looks really similar to Spartan armor, and a different moveset would mix up the fight so it's not just Chief all the time. I can't really think of anything to like mix it up beyond that though, but Noble 6's fight would probably be pretty simple in nature, making him an advanced spirit class, which is again one of the easier ones. But he is a really cool character and definitely worthy of being on this list. A spirit battle that I've been looking forward to all video is Tartarus, the brute leader and one of the primary antagonists from Halo 2. His betrayal of the Arbiter is such a powerful and well-written, awesome moment, and this man has his own boss battle in Halo 2 as well. This brute boss could be represented by a white Donkey Kong, I think, but he's got to be holding an ore club, which is that powerful big-ass item that, you know, just hits you and it does like win. It's a pretty big club, kind of like Tartarus because he's got a big club. Anyway, to make it interesting, a harder battle, and somewhat reflective of his fight in Halo 2, because I think Tartarus does have a little bit of invincibility. The Tartarus spirit battle should start with invincibility as well as this ore club, so you can't damage him for a few seconds, and he can use this ore club to just wail on you and pretty much mess you up, and that'll make the fight a little bit tricky, and he'll probably be an ace class spirit because it'll be a little bit harder of a fight. The Arbiter is the foe turned friend in Halo and is a playable character in his own right, so he has definitely got to be a spirit if Chief gets in. There isn't exactly a clear character on who you would pick to represent the Arbiter, as he's an alien who looks nothing like the characters in Smash, and he uses guns and swords, which isn't like a combination that we really have. However, the Energy Sword is the Arbiter's signature tool and differentiates himself from the Master Chief, so I think picking a sword character would be solid for this spirit, and I'm going with Marth, the original sword character, who I think would work fine, as Ike's sword is a little bit too big, and Roy's sword has a little bit too much fire. So Marth would be reflective of the Arbiter in my opinion, and the spirit could have buffed sword damage, so like all of Marth's attacks would do a lot more damage and potentially kill you in like 3 to 5 hits, making him deadly and making Marth's sword more in line with an energy sword, which like in Halo kills you in 2 hits. So I think the Arbiter class would be an ace spirit, and you'd have to play a little bit more defensively against him. Finally, we have the Flood for a spirit battle. I know it's been a long video, but if you stuck through it and you like what you see, subscribe, as I'll be making more spirit speculation in the future. Now, the Flood is a parasite in Halo and consumes everything, both humans and Covenant alike, and you see these variations in the Flood forms you fight, as you see some human marines, and you see some elites in there too. So this spirit battle should just be a horde of random fighters with random items. So like earlier we had Sgt Johnson and Marth be the Arbiter, so we could have a few snakes and a few Marths into like this Flood horde to be kind of representative of the Marines and elites. We could have a DK in there to represent a brute. And in total, you should probably fight like 6 to 9 enemies, because the Flood is a horde in Halo, and a horde battle in Smash, full of like endurance and survival, is really the only way to represent them within the fighting game. This would probably be a really hard fight unless you have the Celebi Spirit, which I use sometimes when I do spirit battles, as it heals you over time and is really good for like these longer battles with lots of enemies. So this fight would probably be a Legend class spirit, and pretty hard if you had to fight an entire horde. That's all I've got when it comes to the Halo spirits. I didn't choose particular stages for a lot of these fights, but Frigate Orpheon, in my opinion, has the best vibe that matches with Halo and could suit numerous of these fights, from Tartarus to the Flood to Guilty's part. Let me know what other Halo spirits could be in the game if you have any ideas, or if you have different ideas or concepts for the fights I've listed in this video. Drop them down below. Spank that like button and hit that subscribe button, hit all those buttons. There's a lot of them. If you enjoyed today's content, and I'll see you guys next time.